Hello, and welcome to my tutorial series on how to make a mobile game in Unity. In this video, we're going to add our little hoop here and a camera follow so that when we play our game, our hoop has some physical features to it such that it's solid and that the ball can go right through it also. Let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over here into the project window, and in our scripts folder, we're going to right click, go up to create a new C# script, and we're just going to simply call it camera follow. And I'm going to open that up. And right here above our start function, we're going to create two variables. We're going to have a public transform, and we'll call that followy, for lack of any other name. And we'll also have a private float, and we're going to call that x offset. And then down here, we're going to say that in our start function, when the game begins, we're going to say that x offset is going to equal transform dot position dot x plus followy dot position dot x. And we're basically saying that we want to create this variable, and it's based off of the relationship between the position of the camera, which is represented here by transform.position.x, plus the position of the ball, which we're going to make this transform right here in the x direction. So once that's been established, we're going to say that transform.position is going to equal a new vector 3, and this vector 3 is going to consist of followy dot position dot x minus, and you might ask yourself right now, why are we creating this and then subtracting it? And then that's because we want our offset to be to the left. So we're taking our position, which would have been head on, and we're subtracting it by the offset just to move slightly to the left. If we were to put a plus sign there, it would move everything to the right. So that's what we're doing. We don't want the ball to be completely center, as in this sort of more developed portion of the project. Here's the center of the screen, and we want our ball, when I hit play, to just kind of always remain over to a little to the left when we play it, like that. So back to our script, followy.position.x minus x offset, and then our other two, spell everything right, transform.position.y. So whatever our y position is, it's gonna remain there. Transform dot position dot z for our z axis. I'm gonna hit save. So the very first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna spell the word position right. That would help. I'm gonna hit save. I'm gonna go back into our project here, and before I attach the script, before we had this in our game where, the ball bounces along and the camera doesn't move with it. He'll just go right off the screen. We're not going to be able to see him anymore. And so go ahead to highlight the ball. So I have the ball over here to the left-hand side. Yours might be in the middle. I just moved them over a little bit. And to show how this is all going to come together, we're going to go over here to Window. I'm going to go to Layouts. And we're in the default layout right now, but we're going to go to 2x3 so we can see the camera moving, because right now in our game we don't really have too much of a reference here. It's just going to look like it's moving in the blue the whole time. So we are going to go over to our main camera, and we're going to go to our scripts, and we're going to attach our camera follow to our camera by dragging it in. And then we have this followee that says none. That's the public game object we need to put in there, or the public transform. And we're going to put it in here because this is what we want the followee to be. We want it to follow the ball. So I'm going to hit save this. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show you what happens first if I were to make this a plus. Let's go up here, hit plus, go back into our project. And I'm going to hit play. And as you can see, it moved the ball all the way forward because it offset it to the right with the plus sign. Now I'm going to change it back to our subtraction, and it will, as it moves, leave it over to the left like we want it to. I'm going to let this compile and hit play. And now, as you can see, it stays over offsetted to the left like we like it. The camera's not going to just go right over it. And now our ball is moving, or I'm sorry, our camera's moving with our ball. He's not rolling off the screen now, even though it would be hard to tell with the background the way it is right now. And actually, we're going to change the color of the background. We're going to go ahead and make this black for our camera. And this is just changing the camera background from that default blue to this black. And I'm going to just go ahead and return the layout to default. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put together our hoop. Over here in our sprites, we have our hoop sprites. There is a hoop top and a hoop bottom. And you're going to see how this is going to come together, how we're going to use different layers to give the idea that the ball can go through the hoop. So we're going to go up here first, and we're going to create an empty game object. And we're going to call this hoop. And inside this empty game object, we are going to make another empty game object. I'm going to call this hoop sprites. And inside here, we're going to create two other empty game objects. And we're going to call one top hoop. And we're going to hit Control D, and we're going to duplicate it. And we're actually going to rename this, and it's going to be called bottom hoop. So we're going to go over here to our top hoop. I'm going to say add component. We're going to type in sprite renderer right here. And inside this, we're going to put our top hoop sprite. And we're going to do the same thing in our bottom hoop. We're going to get a sprite renderer. And we're going to put the, oops, nope, we're not going to put, we got to put the hoop bottom in that one. But we're going to probably, what was the sprite size of our ball? It was 100. We'll probably have to make that, both these, since they're so tiny right now, we'll probably have to just make them a little bigger. To make them a little bigger, let's see how they look when we make them 32. Maybe a little bigger. 16. Maybe a little bigger than that. Actually, let's go back. Let's just keep them the same size, and we'll just let's move them out of the way. Let's move the hoop over a little bit. Let's go over here. Just make each one a little bigger. Where's top hoop? We'll just zoom in. I have to move these anyway. Move top hoop up, and we'll just scale it out. And 6, maybe. Does it look big enough for our ball? Let's go higher. What's 10 look? 10's a little too high. What's 8 look like? 8 might work. So there's that one. We're gonna go to this one. To 8 in the X direction. Actually, let's go to 2. Maybe 3 in the Y direction. Maybe 3 in the Y direction there. Actually, that looks pretty good. It's not the greatest for what we're doing, but I would say that looks pretty good right there. Let's grab our ball here for a second. And let's see how it looks size-wise with the hoop. Actually, I'm gonna just make this a little, let's 9. We'll start there. We'll perhaps change that around a little bit as we go forward in terms of our sizing. So anyway, we have a top hoop and a bottom hoop, but we want to give the idea when we take our ball and we put it through it that it is going to go through it. We want it to look like it's going through it. So we have to change the sorting layers for this. So we're going to go ahead in terms of appearance. We're going to go to the top hoop first. And you see it has this ordering layer. We're going to make this -1. And our bottom hoop, its ordering layer is going to be 1. So now our ball, which is at 0, actually looks like it's in the middle of these two hoops right here. See that? So that's what ordering layers do. And we're probably going to have to adjust these sizes later for it. What sizes were these over here? Actually, I probably should have double checked that. Oops, sprites. Oh, for some reason, they're smaller here. Maybe I just imported them wrong when I resized them to scale, but I'll leave it like that for now. This is for mostly for tutorial purpose, and it's not really a game on rendering. Actually, let's make it wider than it was. Probably should have done this troubleshooting earlier. But anyway, we got what we wanted. We'll do a little bit of the sizing later. The ball looks like it can go right in between this hoop right here. And so what we're also gonna add to this are a couple more colliders to this since we're setting up for our project later. So now we're gonna add 3 more empty game objects on this before we finish up. I'm gonna create another empty, and I'm gonna call this one left rim. And then we're gonna duplicate it, and I'm gonna rename it right rim. And I'm gonna then duplicate this, and we're gonna rename this through trigger. And basically what's gonna happen is, I'm just gonna put these, reorder them like that for no apparent reason. So we're going to create 3 triggers. Actually, here the left rim is going to be, as you would have expected, it's going to be right here on the left-hand side on the rim, and the right rim is going to be over here on the right-hand side. And then I'll do some more configuring as to location, and the through trigger is going to be in the middle. The left rim is actually going to be a Circle Collider 2D, as will the right rim. I'm actually going to make this sort of make its radius a little bit smaller, maybe. I think that might be good right there. We'll configure that a little more. What was that? 0.4. And then the right rim is going to be the same thing. It's going to be another Circle Collider 2D. 0.4. And we're just going to place these right on the edges of the rim. And these are going to be used as triggers on the rim itself, so that if it hits the rim, certain events will happen. And then this through trigger will be a Box Collider 2D. We're just going to make, let's see, our size in the Y direction. We'll just 0.5 maybe. Move it up a little bit, and then maybe make it 1.5. 2. That's good for now. This isn't really the final component, so we'll leave it like that for now. Just though that we have our colliders here, and as it collides, depending on how it collides, if it goes straight through the hoop and it collides in the middle, then it'll be a swish and it'll have higher points. If it hits the rim and then goes through, rolls forward, then it will be, less points. We'll have like 10 points for a swish, and then, maybe just 2 points if it rolls into the rim. And lastly, let's click on our left rim, and actually we're going to leave that one. It's not going to be a trigger. These are actual colliders. It's the through trigger. We're going to go here and we're going to click this as a trigger. So the left and right rim If I could say rim right today, it'd be a miracle. So the left and right rim, they're going to be actual physical colliders. The ball's going to bounce into them, but the through trigger is just that, it's a trigger. So actually we'll hit play and we'll see how it works. I'm going to click play, and we're going to go ahead, and our ball's going to bounce, and it's going to hit the left side, but it's going to go right through the hoop like so, but it's also can hit the right side. So our hoop is now ready to go, and in the next video we're going to add some script to it to instantiate it and add some features to this game. So that's it for today. As always, thank you for watching. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and support me on Patreon. And as always, a big special thanks to all my Patreon supporters. All links are in the description below. See you next time.